Why'd you put me on blast like that?
Listen, I thought this was free range because you put me on blast, so I'm just speaking truth, right? And if she has the courage and she's the youngest person in this room and you had the mic.
I'm like, who? It's a little hot.
And she did her sermon titled, Don't Be Scared, Do It Afraid, 2 Timothy 1:7. And what that really talks about is God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. If God hasn't given you the spirit of fear, who has? We have people all around the country that are gassing you up, but there's also part of you that's like, how can I still remain humble?
7th grade, girls were cheering me on, and they were like, go Emma, go, when I went on the stage.
So there's something to be said about when you're fully seen and people cheer for you, that you're like, oh, I belong here. Can I get an autographed copy of that from Emma? Because it is an amazing picture.
I can actually do that.
Oh, you can do that because...
I have my own autograph.
Oh, wait, the girl, she says now she's a professional speaker. She also has an autograph she's been working on since probably 5. I don't want your worth to be attached to how many likes, how many shares. That has to come from the inside first, right?
Yes.
I just gave her a compliment and she's tossing her hair back. So this level of confidence that you have, Emma, I wonder if some people would think that girl is full of herself.
Sometimes I am.
Wait, she said sometimes I am.
Welcome to Living in 3D Power. Discover your truth, discern your path, determine your power. I'm Dr. Amber Sessoms, and together, let's unlock our power, build authentic connections, and foster collective liberation. Hey y'all, welcome back to Living in 3D Power. This is episode 19, and before we dive in, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube, follow the show wherever you listen, and if this message resonates, share it with someone who needs a little courage. So let's dive in. This week, we're talking about something tender, something that keeps so many of us from dreaming, from showing up fully, from stepping into our next brave thing, and that is fear. Not the fear we name and abstract, but the fear that settles into our chest, the fear of being seen too much or not at all, the fear that whispers, who do you think you are? What if you fail? Out loud. Last week, though, I watched my 10-year-old daughter, Emma, walk through that kind of fear. She stood on the main stage at Millsville University's Ware Center, delivering the keynote alongside me at the Teenage Girls Empowerment Summit, speaking in front of over 200 7th grade girls from the school district of Lancaster. She was the youngest person by far in the room, but she had the mic, y'all. And what helped her speak wasn't perfection. It was the sound of strangers, girls who looked like her, cheering her on before she even said a single word. And that moment reminded me that sometimes what releases us isn't the plan. It's not having the words right. It's being believed in. It's being seen. It's being cheered for anyway. And Minister Vondel Hammond, the Summit's founder, said it best in her Emma-inspired sermon yesterday, as she titled, Don't Be Scared, Do It Afraid. And she said, I hope she knows she didn't just inspire the girls, she inspired all of us. So this episode is about that moment, the moment of being called on, the power of community, the power of doing the hard thing with butterflies in your heart and joy in your spirit. Let's get into it.
It's me, it's me, it's me. It's me, it's me, it's me. Hey, it's me, Emma. Welcome back to Living in 3D Power, and today we're going to be talking about facing your fears.
Facing your fears. And I think this is a perfect transition from last week's, our first live podcast, and just in front of a couple people. How many people?
Over 250.
Yeah, over 250. So at least 200 girls, and then including other adults. So I mean, you're all the buzz right now, Emma. It's such a big deal. 10-year-old. I can't remember at 10, or I know at 10, I was never on stage in front of hundreds of people just speaking truth. So for you to do that at 10 and for me to be your mama and watching that, it just brings a little bit of healing to me because I'm sitting there watching you. And one of the biggest things that we're going to talk about is how the girls just supported you, but also the adults. So the cool thing was that Minister Vondel Hammond reached out to me, and we used to do some board work together for a diversity organization. And she says, I love your podcast. I love Emma. And I really feel led to ask y'all to be the keynote. So she did that. And then she reached out to me yesterday and she goes, I want you to tell Emma that she's going to be a part of my sermon tomorrow, which I think was so cool. So we got to listen to her sermon, and I just want to quote some of her sermon. And she did her sermon titled, Don't Be Scared, Do It Afraid. And it was 2 Timothy 1:7. And what that really talks about is God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. And it makes me think of Pastor Trey DuPont. A couple Sundays ago, he posed a question. He said, if God hasn't given you the spirit of fear, who has? And that's such a powerful question. So what she did was she took that, don't be scared, do it afraid, because she was inspired by you. And so I wanted to share a little bit with the audience, because when you heard it, I think it was just so cool that she was shouting you out in a sermon. But part of what she said was, and I'm just literally quoting from her sermon, she was fearful. She stood, though, in the power of looking at her daddy and looking at her mother and looking at all the girls that were in the audience. And they were like, go, Emma, go. You can hear actually Miss Bond will be like, go, Emma, when you got on stage with all the girls are yelling. Did you hear her? When because she was at the mic on the podium when she introduced us. So it was like, go, Emma, go. You can do this. You can do this. A 10-year-old, though fearful, she gripped herself together with nerves of steel. She was courageous, and she graced that stage as a keynote. And when I gave her her little check, she was so excited. She thought she was rich. You did say that. I'm rich. The picture, y'all, of her getting that check is just priceless. She thought she was rich, but not only did that, she jumped up into his arms and she looked at her dad's eyes and said, Daddy, I did it. I did it afraid. She said that's as if you looked at him like that. I did it afraid. And I can't wait to get that picture back, because it was such a beautiful picture, because you just kind of melted into his arms, and you said that was your favorite picture. But we have some other images coming from We and Company, so I'm excited to see that. So I love that she said that. And then she recalled at the end of her sermon, she said, Emma said the reason why people don't dream again is because they're afraid of what other people will think. And she's like, a 10-year-old said that, y'all, a 10-year-old. And what she said is, I will not be that person that doesn't dream because I'm worried about what others think. The Lord is the one that will give you what you need to be accomplishing what he has for you to do. So don't let it go to the grave. Do it scared. Do it afraid. So she was so inspired because you did it afraid. So let's talk about that a little bit. So we keep these questions pretty general, right? So that anyone could ask the questions, because we have curiosity cards for y'all to ask with your own family. Not everyone's going to have the experience of being 10 years old and being on a stage and having 200 plus people cheer for them. So the more general question that we would ask if you were at home with your child or a loved one, you could say, can you remember a time someone cheered for you? I think you have a pretty good idea or example of remembering a very recent time when someone or somebody or some people or a crowd cheered for you. So talk a little bit about that. What was that like?
It was our live podcast. The 8th grade girls.
7th grade.
7th grade girls were cheering me on, and they were like, go, Emma, go, when I went on the stage. And then when I got off, they were like, good job, and all of that, and it made me feel happy.
Yeah, it made you feel happy. Did you feel that way when you got on the stage? You remember? So there's a picture, Miss Vondel even was preaching about it. She said, you can look back on the video. So when I did the kind of behind the scenes footage and you open the doors to the theater and you look back at me like, oh my gosh, that's a big stage. And there's, it's going to be filled with people. So she was recalling that. So when you went in there, can you think about what it felt like when you went in there initially? So think about like in phases. When I first told you about it, to seeing the stage, to when she was announcing us and we were going on stage, to when you finally kind of could breathe and feel comfortable. Can you go through those stages with us?
So the first stage, I was like mixed feelings. Like I was kind of happy and most of it was nervous. But then the second stage, I was like, okay. I was like, it was half and half.
Yeah.
And then like when I got on the stage, I felt better because people were cheering me on.
And I think that's the part for me as your mother that was so moving for me, because I'm looking at you at 10 and thinking about my experience at 10. You know, I wasn't going on stages, and a lot of people don't have that experience. But it wasn't the point of being on a stage in front of all those people. It was the point that you had girls that looked like you, that were rooting for you. And I just think everyone deserves to have that. And not just a once in time experience, but like something that you have on a regular basis. But the fact that you were able to have that made me so happy, because I think that creates a different pathway for you. And stop thinking about, and this is my experience, right? And we talked about that even on the stage, and we talk about that now, how I did not feel great about myself and what I look like, but you're looking out at girls that look like you, and then they're looking at you and being like, I look like her. And if she has the courage, and she's the youngest person in this room, which I think is also wild. I didn't really think about that until today, that you were the youngest person in the room and you had the mic. So I just think that's a phenomenal experience. So I even think as an adult, who are the people, what's the community in my life that's rooting for me? Who are the people that have my back? And these people didn't even know you. And I think that's what also made it special, but they cheered for you and you relaxed, right? So there's something to be said about when you're fully seen and people cheer for you, that you're like, oh, yeah, I belong here. This is awesome. and I'm gonna soak this up. Was that super special? Yeah, I think how do we gift that to everyone, right? Like, how can everyone have that experience? Because everyone deserves to feel celebrated in that way. So I think that was absolutely beautiful. I still reflect on it. I hope that you can bottle up that feeling. If you could describe what it felt like to have those girls cheer for you, what would it feel like, and where does it live in your body?
My heart?
Your heart, and what does it feel like?
Butterflies.
Butterflies, yeah, butterflies in your heart, just like fluttering around. Just it was beautiful, and I think I get kind of tingly, and I feel it all over, and it just gives me this lightness about me, because it's just so amazing to be able to witness it. And not only that was I able to witness it, but that we have it on film and we can watch it over and over again.
Yeah.
And then we also have that amazing picture, y'all, like where we got the picture, we're on the stage and everyone's behind us. And so many people have reached out and said, please blow that picture up. You need to have that picture on your wall, or can I get an autographed copy of that from Emma, because it is an amazing picture.
I can actually do that.
Oh, you can do that, because
I have my own autograph.
Oh, wait, the girl, not only is she now a paid speaker, she says now she's a professional speaker. She also has an autograph she's been working on since probably 5. So yes, you can sign that. You can sign your artwork. You can also sign the picture. But we have to give Brian Wynn credit from School District Lancaster. Thank you, Bree, for taking that picture. And I just can't wait to see more pictures. So y'all gonna get sick of us, because you're gonna see lots of pictures coming. So another question I want to ask you that's on our list is, what are you really good at, even if you sometimes forget?
My instrument.
Your instrument? What? So is it forgetting that sometimes you forget to play it or practice?
Why'd you put me on blast like that?
Listen, I thought this was free range because you put me on blast, so I'm just speaking truth, right? We're just chilling in our living room. I thought I could tell that part. She's looking at the camera, y'all, with the side eye like, oh no, she put me on blast. So tell the listeners, what is the instrument that you play?
String bass.
So for y'all that don't know what a string bass is, Emma, describe that monstrous instrument to the people.
It's really, really, really tall. It's taller than this, probably. It's taller than me.
Definitely.
And it has very deep notes.
Deep notes.
And you might have seen it before. and it's in the orchestra. So I play in the orchestra. And my concert's soon.
Yes, and you know what? Just thinking about now, I was on Facebook, and you remember your friend from preschool that we were talking about, and how the other student didn't want to hold her hand because she was black. Guess what instrument she plays?
The bass.
The same instrument. How cool is that? Y'all play the same instrument, and I told her mom was like, I cannot wait to tell her. That's so cool. What are the chances of two black girls are like, I'll take the bass? I wonder what she thinks, why she chose it. You chose it because
The sound, I like the sound.
you also said you like how it
Feels.
feels in your body. Yeah, it's a nice. I do like the bass tone. You do need that tone in there. So Emma's concert's this week, so maybe you're going to bust out your suit and tie again. Because listen, and can we just talk about the fashion?
The theme is it. It's Dr. Seuss themed.
Oh,
All the places we'll go.
okay. Are you not feeling that theme? Why not?
Because I don't have any Dr. Seuss theme. The only thing I have is like a red and white shirt that has like a little flower on the side.
So you're supposed to wear something Dr. Seuss like?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, you do you. If you can't find anything, you can always make it work. Emma's face, y'all. I was hoping it could be like a black dandy theme, like the Met Gala. Because we definitely, your school's like, yeah, they're not ready for that. But you definitely, I'll say we definitely did that on last Monday. We did some black dandy. So Emma was all about, I want to wear a suit and tie. And I'm like, what in the world? Aunt Dana came through finding you a suit and tie. It was super cute. And well, the suit, you already had the tie and the button up. And I tried it and I was like, I don't think tie is my thing. Suits though, all day. I love a good suit.
Like-
So we had our suits, but I did wear my Chucks like you. So we were kind of matching with the Chucks. But I love that. But so I love that you said you're really good at even sometimes when you forget. And what I'm thinking about in this moment is, remember the one time you asked me something about like, what makes you come alive? What do you love doing? And as I was talking through it, I was like, oh my gosh, it's when I'm talking to people. Like, I love that. And I see that naturally in you too. Like, even though you had to work through your nerves, it's there. But I also remember talking to my therapist about this because I said, it's really weird for me when people, I know how people were like, oh my gosh, you were so amazing. I don't think it was weird to you at all. You were like, yes, thank you.
I know.
Tossed my hair.
I know.
But for me, it's super weird to hear that because, and this is what I'm recalling in this moment, watching you on the stage and having those girls cheer you on. I have this same experience when I'm presenting, I'm doing keynotes, but it's weird to me to have people be like, you're amazing. And I'm like, oh, not that I don't know it or believe it. It's just really odd for me. And when I processed it, you know what came up? It was, I'm just not used to being seen so fully. You know what that means? Like someone just honoring me just for who I am and just appreciating who I am. Because of where we live and because of the work that I do, the spaces that I'm in, it's unusual to have a black woman in some of these spaces saying really hard truths to people. So I'll be in spaces and people will intentionally not call me Dr. Sessoms. They'll call me Ms. And they'll call all the men in the room or other people in the room Doctor. And I will put a stop to that. So those are those subtle ways that people show me you don't belong here. So when I'm on the stage, right, when I'm on the stage, I don't feel that. But to see you embody that and take that on showed me, girl, you better sit and own that. And you know you're good at this thing, so just rock it and be good at it.
Let's hope when I go to college, no one calls me Miss Sessoms. I hate when people do that.
Who calling you Miss Sessoms now? You a whole kid.
No one. I just don't like when people say that.
You don't like that?
Miss Sessoms, sit down.
Oh, they say they might.
Not in school. They just say, Emma, sit down.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, that's usually a very common thing, formal language. I noticed when I was still in the schools, they wouldn't say Ms. or either kids. They would just call me Sessoms, and I don't like that. I'm not a fan of that.
Why not?
I just think I'm still like an old school millennial where I'm like, I think that's inappropriate. Call me by my full title. Put some respect on my name.
Okay. Amber Michelle Sessoms.
You could put doctor in front of that. There's something about me that's like, if you're younger than me, don't be calling me by my first name. We're not cool like that. We're cool, but there got to be like some kind of amount of respect for your elders.
Dr. Amber.
So they'd be like, Ms. Some people just say Ms. You ever heard people say that? They'll just say Ms. And I'm like, I don't like that. That's like people when they say happy birthday, but they'll text and just be HBD. And I'll never forget someone text someone HBD and they're like, put some respect on it and spell it out. It's kind of the same thing to me.
Who types HBD?
A lot of people. Happy birthday.
Not.
They don't type it up. Maybe that's like us old heads that what we're doing. I doubt it. Prove me right.
We
right.
don't. We
Oh,
don't.
your
We
alpha
don't.
generation does it.
Yes.
Okay, fine. Well, you know what? I think our generation and Gen Z definitely do the HBD thing because I don't know, we're lazy. I don't know what it is. But put some respect on
We
it
have
and say
our
it all.
own, we have our own thing,
Your own what?
like, to shorten it out.
What are you shorting out to?
Well, not happy birthday.
Just others saying that you shorten
other
things out.
things.
Yeah, so HBD is one of those things. And you acting like you're out here with a whole cell phone and like you know all the texting lingo. You're not even in that realm yet, so we can still be 10 and still just be 10 and not worry about what the hashtags and all the things are because we're not there yet. We got plenty of time. Hashtags like hashtag HBD. See, I love that you aren't familiar with this stuff yet because you don't have a cell phone yet. So I love that.
I don't want a cell phone.
Y'all heard it.
Yet.
Oh, she had to
Yet.
put the yet in there. We're going to hold off as long as we can. So let's see here. We have another question. When someone says they believe in you, how does that change how you feel?
I don't know. Maybe, like, it makes me feel more confident in myself.
And you know what the key is, but you just said more confident. Because as you were sitting there and you're like, I don't know. I'm like, oh, she's just confident. She believes in herself. That's why I feel like it doesn't change how you feel. It just makes you feel more of that thing. And I think that is powerful because if you were to ask me that when someone says they believe in you or they do something to show you they believe in you. So for example, one of the people that sponsored the summit, she subscribed to my Substack. So for y'all who don't know, and I'll put the link in the bio, the link's already in there, every podcast, but you can watch our podcast if you subscribe to our Substack, livinginthreedpower.substack.com. You will get 2 weekly emails. You'll get one on Wednesdays with the podcast, so you'll get first dibs on the live recording. And you also get a newsletter every weekend where I just do reflections about the week and the unfolding of the podcast. So I went on yesterday to do my newsletter, and I get a notice that this sponsor sponsored me for my subscription, was my first paid subscriber. So when I think about that question, what happens or how's it change how you feel when someone believes in you? That to me is a very adult way to believe in someone. Like how you got that check for speaking, that's how I felt because she is also the one I shouted out in the podcast when I said I came to her like a couple years ago. And I was just on a fluke and I was like, I love to do a women's summit. And by the next day, she emailed me, I have a space, let's go, let's do this. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then I pulled back, I got nervous. But I have to start leaning into that thing. Look, Emma, you're shaking your head. Why are you shaking your head?
Because you should do what you want to do.
But you know what? And then remember the question you asked me was something about what's the voice in your head? And it's who do you think you are? And I think tying that in with who do you think you are, but also tying in with the doubt when I feel like I'm going to do the thing and maybe people don't respond well. And I think I was feeling that with the newsletter a little bit. I was feeling like, oh, and also the cool thing was not only did I get my first paid subscriber, I also got my 100th subscriber. So now I have 100 people. So it was like 4 months in, it might not be a big deal because you're like, 100 subscribers. But for me, trying something new, I think what I'm trying to learn to do is celebrate those small wins.
Yes.
And that gives me a little dose of, okay, Amber, you can do that thing, like one step in front of the other. It doesn't have to be this big elaborate thing when you start out, just start small. It doesn't have to be, I'm on stage for my first time ever talking in front of 200 something people and getting my first check. It can be something small. So for me, that showed me that she believed in me. And what shifted in me was this urgency to keep producing my workbooks and, you know, really put myself out there and start creating
Yes.
again. Sometimes you need that permission and invitation. So that was cool. Where are we at with our questions here?
The last
Okay,
one.
we are on the last one. Okay, last question is, what's one brave thing you want to try next?
Baking.
Baking? Why is baking brave?
I'm 10.
So what makes baking brave at 10?
The stove.
You're scared of the stove?
I don't like that the heat.
The heat, it
projects
can get
on
you. Yes.
I'm like, whew, it's a little hot.
So there's also a little bit of like baking, yes, like you're 10. And I can't remember how old I was when I started cooking, but you know, a couple of weeks ago, you're like, can I make my own eggs? And we have a gas stove, y'all. So I didn't grow up with a gas stove. I grew up with an electric stove. And it wasn't until I got my first apartment with Aunt Dana that we had a gas stove. And she had always grown up with gas. And I remember Graham being like, oh my gosh, gas, it's so dangerous. My mom and Daddy Brown had a gas stove though. But it did make me nervous because I'm like, okay, don't turn it up too high. But I was right there. And you did an awesome job making your eggs. So you actually have some natural talent with cooking. But baking... Look, see? Y'all, if you're watching the video, I just gave her a compliment and she's tossing her hair back. This is also the model for me in the mirror for me because sometimes, and I think I talked about this a couple weeks ago, when you get a compliment, you'll deflect. Do you ever feel like if someone gives you a compliment, you have to give them a compliment back? Like it's just a natural thing? Like, oh, this says something nice about me, I have to say something nice about them?
Yeah, I'm like, they say, oh, your hair is so nice. I'm like, oh, your eyes are so nice.
You're trying to find, you're scanning them real quick. What can I say nice about them? And part of me think that is manners. It's a cultural thing, but part of me also thinks it's deflection. It's not just taking, just how you were like tossing your hair back. It's just sitting and being like, thank you. What would it feel like to honor that and say thank you and not have to give a compliment back? Because sometimes what I think, and I know people do, is they'll give you a compliment so they get one back. And so it's not really a genuine compliment. Yes, it's true. I can own that. But like you're just looking for something in return. And sometimes in relationships, we have transactional relationships where it's like, I give you something, you give me something back.
Like
And-
chocolate.
Like chocolate? That's the first thing you thought of is chocolate? So why can't I just say, oh, I love your hair, and it just be that? Is it so wrong to be like, thank you?
Thank you. I know my hair's so beautiful.
And also, is it wrong to say, I know my hair is beautiful? So this level of confidence that you have, Emma, I wonder if some people would think, that girl is full of herself. What would you say to that?
Sometimes I am.
Wait, she said, sometimes I am. So give me an example of that. And how does that work out when you're full of yourself?
Math.
Math, okay.
Ooh, I'm gonna ace this. I'm like, okay, this is easy. And then I come back and I get like 2 wrong.
Okay, so you think you're overly confident. So that seems like it might be some positive affirmation, positive self-talk, like I'm going to do well on this. But then also, I think the cockiness or the full of myself could be in, I'm going to ace this. This is so easy, and you didn't put in the work.
I put in the work.
So there's a difference, though. If you're putting in the work and you're like, I worked hard studying for this test, I know I'm going to do well, is very different than, I don't need to study for this. I got this. This is so easy. It's so beneath me. You see the difference? It's very different. Like you prepared for something and you can honor that if you worked hard for that and you still got 2 wrong or however many wrong, I still tried really, really hard and I can be proud of myself for trying hard and preparing. So in everything in life, we have to prepare. And then the opposite is like, well, I can just do this with my eyes closed. It's so easy. That is bothersome. I don't necessarily like that.
Oh, I heard that in a movie once.
What happened in the movie, though? Because I know there was a point to that with someone being that full of themselves.
Forget.
You forget. Usually when people are like that, right, there's something that's going to happen to humble you so that you can not think that you're so much above everyone else. And I think that's the powerful part that I want you to model, that, to learn, to grow into that there's so many people, particularly right now, that keep coming up to you or sending you messages and saying, oh my gosh, you're phenomenal, you're awesome, you're such an inspiration, keep going. Watch out, Oprah was a comment that I got this week. Watch out, Oprah, she's gonna be on her own, she's taking over, Amber. You're gonna have to up her rate. You know, the person that wrote you the check was like, girl, we still need to get you in at that price point. Don't be going off and getting all big for us now. But those are kind of things like, yes, we have people all around the country that are gassing you up. And I think there's a healing, there's an amazing part that comes from that, especially being a little Black girl. But there's also part of you that's like, how can I still remain humble? There's a tension between both of us. Yes, I can honor, like, I am that girl, like we said on stage. And you were like, you even hear that sometimes and you'll still doubt yourself. Those moments do come. But I think honoring the both and of that, like, I can still think I'm awesome. Maybe sometimes I'm not as awesome, but it doesn't change who I am. I'm still that girl, doesn't matter. And even if people are cheering for me in the theater versus I'm just in my room alone doodling, it doesn't change my worth or how many likes we get on videos or how many views. Because remember early on, you were like, how many likes did we get? How many views? And I was like, it doesn't matter how many likes and views, right? The impact is there. It is cool to see that, like, some of them have been inspiring people, but I don't want your worth to be attached to how many likes, how many shares, how much praise you get. That has to come from the inside first, right?
Yes.
And we're working on that. So that's that for today, y'all.
Chicken nugget wisdom.
She just said chicken nugget wisdom. What's your chicken nugget wisdom for today?
Don't be afraid, just do it. Do what you want to do and be yourself.
I think that is your takeaway from now on. So do what you want to do and be yourself and love yourself.
Yes.
All right, y'all. See you next week.
Bye.
This is like your signature end move. She's doing like a, I don't even know what that is. It's like, it's not a herky, it's a spread eagle. Y'all can tell I used to be a cheerleader. I had to take it back. Spread eagle. See ya.
Okay, so there's something sacred about hearing a child speak with truth that hits you in your chest. And that's exactly what Emma did this week. She said when she first heard she'd be on stage, her feelings were mixed, right? Mostly nervous. But the moment she heard the girls cheering, she said, it gave me butterflies in my heart. That one line, it stopped me in my tracks because it reminded me that courage doesn't mean the fear is gone. It means the love is louder. And Emma reminded us that sometimes confidence grows when someone sees something in us before we do. She reminded me that being seen, really seen, makes space for us to rise. And she reminded us that courage is often a community project. Do what you want to do. Be yourself. That's her signature mantra now, her chicken nugget wisdom. So this week, Emma didn't just speak at a summit. She lived out everything this podcast is about. She showed us what it means to be vulnerable, to be affirmed, and to rise to the moment, even afraid. So if you're sitting with a dream or a decision that scares you, I hope Emma's story gives you permission to move and do it anyway. Now, here's your invitation for this week. 1, cheer someone on, even if they don't know you're watching. Be the one who says, I see you. 2, think about a time someone believed in you. Let that memory guide your next bold move. And 3, celebrate yourself. Seriously, don't wait for the big win. Honor the small, brave steps. They count too. And if fear shows up again, let it ride, but don't let it drive. Remind fear that it has no authority over you and your life and your purpose, and that it gets off at the next exit. And if this episode touched something in you, here's how you can support us in our work. Like, follow, and subscribe to Living in 3D Power on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen. Leave a review. It helps more people find us. And join the community at livingin3dpower.substack.com. Until next time, keep discovering your truth, discerning your path, and determining your power.